She knows what she wants tonight. Moves fast like a neon tide. Confidence in every line. She's got style to find.
The Package. Chapter 2. The secure comms line crackled, then cleared. Coulson, Nick Fury's voice, gravelly and direct, filled the small Spartan office. We have a problem. A big one. The name Centipede ring any bells? Phil Coulson leaned forward, his brow furrowed. Centipede? That's a name from the past, sir. My team dealt with them a while back. Enhanced individuals, extremist derivatives, some nasty tech. We thought we'd shut them down. Well, they're back, or somebody that wants to be like them, Fury stated, no room for argument in his tone. And they're bolder. This isn't just about enhanced soldiers anymore. We're seeing signs of a coordinated global operation, and I need someone to coordinate efforts between your field team and the heavy hitters, the ones you usually only see on the news. A beat of silence. Coulson knew what that meant. The Avengers. That's why I'm putting Romanoff on point. She's already been digging into some of their recent activities. She'll be joining your team on the ground for the initial phase of the investigation. She suggested it herself. Coulson's eyes widened almost imperceptibly. Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, working with his team? He tried to keep his voice level, but a hint of his inner fanboy escaped. Romanoff? Wow, that's quite the asset, sir. She knows Captain America, right? And Thor? I mean, I've seen them, obviously, but to actually work with someone who's regularly in the field with them, that's incredible. He cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. It's just, she's used to working with gods and super soldiers. My team, we're a bit more grounded. Do you think she'll be able to adapt to our operational tempo? We're more about precision and subtlety than, smashing things. A dry chuckle came through the comms. Coulson, Romanoff's adaptable, trust me. And she's got a reputation for getting the job done no matter the scale of the threat. She'll be there within an hour. Give her the full rundown. Fury out. Coulson had another call to make. As the secure comms line crackled to life, Mac's face appeared on Coulson's screen. Hey, Phil, good to hear from you. Anything new on Fury's hunch? Mac asked, with a hint of weariness in his voice. Coulson nodded, a serious expression on his face. Indeed, and a name to go with it. They've confirmed the group behind the activities in your AO is calling themselves Centipede. Mac blinked, then let out a short, incredulous laugh. Centipede? Seriously? You'd think with all the resources these bad guys throw around, they could at least come up with a decent brand name. What's next? The Hive? Coulson allowed himself a small, wry smile. My thoughts exactly. But don't let the name fool you. They're organized, resourceful, and expanding. Which brings me to you. Any progress on your end? Oh, we have got progress, all right, Mac replied, his tone shifting to professional gravity. We've confirmed a massive construction project deep in the Appalachian region. It's heavily fortified, Phil. We're talking multiple layers of perimeter defense, advanced sensor arrays, and what looks like significant structural reinforcement going deep underground. We don't know what they're building yet, but it's big, really big. We're seeing energy signatures consistent with large-scale excavation and some kind of power generation, but it's all incredibly shielded. Coulson's brow furrowed. Underground, fortified, massive energy signatures. That aligns with some of our intel. If you don't mind, keep me in the loop on this. We're dealing with some kind of power source ourselves. We need to know what Centipede is up to. Will do, Mac confirmed. Mac out. The line went dead, leaving Coulson to process the impending arrival of the Black Widow. He was still buzzing slightly from the mention of Captain America, but then the practicality set in. How would she fit? Just as he was finishing trying to straighten up his desk, there was a knock and his office door opened. Natasha Romanoff stepped in. She was dressed in practical, dark field gear, her expression unreadable. "Phil," she said, a hint of wry amusement in her voice as she stepped in. "You heard from Fury. Filled me in. Sounds like our centipede problem just got an upgrade." Coulson, still slightly flustered, gestured to a chair. "Agent Romanoff, please, have a seat. It is a mess. We've got some preliminary intel, but it's fragmented." Natasha settled into the chair, her gaze sharp and assessing. "Your team's good, Phil. Really good. I've been keeping an eye on your ops. You guys managed to pull off the impossible with a bit more finesse than the heavy hitters. That's a compliment, by the way." Coulson blinked, genuinely surprised. "Really? We just do our jobs," he almost mumbled. Natasha gave a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "Exactly. You guys get it done. And honestly, I've been wanting to work with May for ages. The cavalry. She's a legendary. And Sky's here too. Plus Bobby, we go way back. It'll be good to work with her in the field again. This team is solid." Coulson felt a wave of relief. May is a force of nature, you're right. And Sky, she's grown into an incredible agent. Morse is a recent addition, but invaluable. This sounds great, Agent Romanoff. Just one thing. In the field, May is in charge of tactical. She runs tactical. Natasha nodded, her expression firm. "Understood. May's in charge tactically. I'm good with that. So, what's our next move, Phil?" It was a Tuesday, late afternoon, when Sarah Walker found herself exiting a highly secure skiff at the NSA's Washington, D.C. headquarters. Her latest deep dive into Senator Albright's finances had yielded more questions than answers. The data was too clean, the anomalies too perfectly erased. It was like trying to find a ghost in a perfectly swept room. She adjusted the strap of her bag, a subtle frown creasing her brow. Just as she stepped into the less restricted hallway, a familiar, gruff voice cut through the hum of the building. "Walker." Sarah stopped, turning slowly. Leaning against the wall opposite the skiff entrance, arms crossed, was John Casey. His usual stoic expression was firmly in place, but there was a hint of something else in his eyes, a familiar, almost grudging recognition. "Casey," she replied, her voice cool and measured, betraying none of the surprise she felt. "Fancy meeting you here, slumming it with the analysts?" "Don't flatter yourself," Casey grunted, pushing off the wall. "My assignment brought me here. Unlike some, I don't chase shadows." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Shadows? Or a very well-hidden entity known only as the Director?" Casey's eyes narrowed, a flicker of genuine surprise crossing his face before he clamped down on it. "You're on that? Albright?" "Albright is a symptom, Casey," Sarah said, stepping closer, her voice dropping to a low, conspiratorial tone. "The real problem is whoever's pulling his strings, the financial irregularities, the sudden shifts in policy. It all points to someone with a lot of influence and a very deep reach." She paused, her gaze locking with his. "And the name, the Director, keeps popping up in the periphery of my investigations. Always just out of reach." "Humph," Casey scoffed, but he didn't deny it. "My intel suggested Albright was a dead end. Too clean, like you said. But the whispers about the Director are getting louder. My brief was to verify the existence of this Director guy and assess the threat level." He gestured back at the skiff. "Just finished a fruitless dive into some encrypted comms logs. Nothing concrete." "Funny," Sarah mused, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on her lips. "My brief was to track down the source of Albright's sudden, unexplained political sway. And every time I get close, the trail goes cold, or I find a breadcrumb leading to this Director." She tilted her head. "It's almost like someone wants us to find them. Or wants us to find this." "Humph," Casey grunted, a sound that could mean anything from agreement to profound irritation. "Someone's playing games, and I don't like games." "Neither do I," Sarah agreed, her gaze distant, already piecing together the implications. Casey's eyes lingered on her for a moment, a rare, almost unreadable expression crossing his face. "Any symptoms?" he asked, his voice low enough that it wouldn't carry beyond them. The word symptoms hanging in the air, loaded with unspoken meaning. Sarah met his gaze, her own expression unreadable. "Nothing I can't handle, Casey," she replied, her tone flat, but her eyes held a subtle understanding. "Just a little efficiency." Before either could elaborate, a boisterous voice boomed from down the hall. "Agent Walker! Colonel Casey, my office, now." It was General Beckman, Casey's direct superior, standing at the end of the corridor, her face a mask of barely contained annoyance. She gestured sharply towards her office. "Sit," she ordered, her voice clipped. She leaned forward, resting her elbows on the desk, her gaze sweeping over them. "I've just received new orders. Orders from, well, above my pay grade, apparently. Effective immediately, you two are reassigned. Joint operation." Casey's jaw tightened. "Reassigned, General? To what? My current mission is irrelevant now, Colonel. And yours too, Agent Walker. This new assignment is top priority. And, frankly, I know absolutely nothing about it. The directive simply states that Agent Walker and Colonel Casey are to form a joint task force, reporting directly to a secure channel that provides instructions as needed. No details, no objectives, just execute as ordered. It's highly irregular, and, frankly, I don't like being kept in the dark." She glared at them, as if they were personally responsible for her lack of information. "But orders are orders. You'll receive your first briefing packet within the hour. Good luck. You're going to need it."
The rain lashed against the grimy windows of the abandoned warehouse, each gust of wind rattling the loose panes like bones. Inside, the only sounds were the soft thud of combat boots and the calculated whispers of 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s most formidable agents. Heat signatures confirm one target, upper level west side. Bobby Morse, codenamed Nightingale, murmured into her comms. Her night vision goggles gave her eyes an otherworldly glow in the near-total darkness. Moving with caution, "I still don't see the package." "Understood." Melinda May's voice was a low growl. The cavalry moved with a predatory grace, her movements economical and silent as she swept her flashlight beam across the cobweb-draped machinery. "Natasha, you have eyes on his exit strategies?" From a perch high above, amidst the steel beams and ventilation shafts, Natasha Romanov's voice came back, cool and collected. 3 possible, all covered. He's boxed in, assuming he doesn't sprout wings." A faint glint of red from her scope confirmed her position. Their target was a low-level centipede operative named Jax, known more for his expendability than his ingenuity, but intelligence suggested he was in possession of a package that even centipede's higher-ups were desperate to retrieve. What was in it? That was the million-dollar question, and one S.H.I.E.L.D. intended to answer. Suddenly, a metallic clang echoed from the upper level. Jax had tripped something. "He's nervous. He's moving like he's scared of his own shadow. Watch him, he's on the run," Mays stated, already moving. "Nightingale, secure the ground exits. Black Widow, keep him pinned." Bobby was a blur, her battle staffs appearing in her hands as if by magic. She moved to cut off any escape routes, a silent guardian against the rain-slicked concrete. Up above, Natasha sighted Jax. He was fumbling with a bulky, reinforced briefcase, his face a mask of panic. He didn't look like a man who was about to engage in a firefight. He looked like a rat caught in a trap. "He's got the package," Natasha confirmed, her voice now edged with a hint of urgency. "Looks like a briefcase, heavily shielded. He's trying to open it." "Don't let him," May commanded. Whatever was in that briefcase, they couldn't risk Jax activating or deploying it. As May ascended the rickety metal stairs, a shot rang out, impacting the wall just inches from her head. Jax had a pistol, clearly a last-ditch effort. May didn't flinch. She returned fire not to kill, but to disable. The bullet grazed his arm, making him yelp and drop the briefcase with a loud clatter. He scrambled for it, but May was already there, her boot pinning his wrist to the floor. The briefcase lay tantalizingly close, its dark metal gleaming under the weak emergency lights. "What's in the package, Jax?" May asked, her voice deceptively calm. He just grunted, fear flickering in his eyes. He tried to squirm away, but May's grip was iron. Suddenly, a high-pitched whine emanated from the briefcase, growing rapidly in intensity. A thin crack appeared along one of its seams, and a sickly green light began to pulse from within. "Get back!" Natasha's voice was sharp, cutting through the growing cacophony. "It's not just a package, it's a device!" Bobby, already halfway up the stairs, swore under her breath. The whine was becoming a shriek, rattling the very structure of the warehouse. The green light intensified, bathing the area in an eerie glow. It was no longer just light. It was a visible energy, shimmering and distorted the air around it. May, driven by instinct and years of training, didn't hesitate. Her hand shot out, not to open the briefcase, but to try and press down on the glowing crack, hoping to somehow seal it. Her fingers seared on contact, the heat intense, but she grit her teeth, her gaze locked on the escalating energy. She could feel the vibrations resonating through her bones, a low hum that threatened to shake her apart. From her perch, Natasha was already processing. "It's a localized energy overload," she barked into her comms, her voice straining against the rising cacophony. "Looks like contained for now, but if that casing ruptures..." Bobby, now at the top of the stairs, saw the sheer force radiating from the device. Jax, whimpering on the floor, was trying to crawl away, his eyes wide with terror. "May, get clear!" she yelled, moving instinctively to provide cover, her staffs held defensively. But May wasn't moving. The device was hot, unbelievably hot, and the pressure building within it was immense. She was essentially trying to hold back a miniature supernova. Her knuckles were white, her muscles screaming, but she wouldn't give an inch. Whatever this was, it could not be allowed to go off unchecked. Suddenly, a series of sharp internal clicks resonated from the briefcase, each one punctuated by a spike in the green light and a surge of the raw energy. The final click was louder, more definitive, like a lock snapping into place. The shriek cut out abruptly. The green light didn't vanish, but it dimmed significantly, shrinking back into the crack. The impressive heat radiating from the briefcase subsided, leaving May's fingertips stinging but no longer burning. The oppressive vibration in the air vanished, replaced by the persistent drumming of the rain outside. A tense silence filled the warehouse, broken only by Jax's panicked gasps and the distant sound of sirens. May slowly pulled her hands away, her chest heaving. She had instinctively acted and, against all odds, it seemed to have worked. "What just happened?" Bobby asked, her voice hushed. Natasha landed lightly beside May, her eyes scanning the briefcase. "It didn't detonate," she stated, her voice thick with a mixture of relief and lingering tension. She knelt beside it, producing a small, sophisticated scanner from her belt. The device hummed, displaying a complex array of readings. It initiated a self-containment protocol, or a fail-safe. It overloaded, then managed to lock itself down, for now. May simply stared at the briefcase, then at her own hands, which still throbbed. She had instinctively acted, and against all odds, it seemed to have worked. "We need to get this thing to a secure facility immediately, preferably one with a very large, very thick, lead-lined box." Jax, still huddled on the floor, watched the three agents with wide, terrified eyes. He'd expected an explosion, not this chilling, controlled aftermath. Bobby Morse, ever efficient, was already on him, a single battle staff pressing lightly against his throat. "You're coming with us, Jax," she stated, her voice devoid of emotion. "You're going to tell us everything you know about this device and Centipede." Jax swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing. I don't know much. They just told me to transport it. If it activated, I was supposed to initiate a shutdown. I swear." "Initiate a shutdown how?" May asked, her eyes narrowed. She didn't buy his sudden surge of cooperation, but the question was crucial. "There's a sequence," he stammered, pointing a trembling finger at the still glowing briefcase. "On the side. If it starts to go, you press it in order. I saw it once. It's a failsafe." Natasha, who had been studying the scanner's readings, looked up sharply. "A failsafe that you were supposed to activate, not one that automatically kicked in?" She glanced at May. "You saved his bacon, May, and ours." May simply grunted, her gaze still fixed on the briefcase. It seemed she'd intuitively performed the very action Jax had been instructed to do, albeit without the exact sequence.
She's got style to find.